Hey friends. You guys, how's it going? Y'all, I got twirled up the last couple days. Farrah had me, well, yesterday. Today, I don't even, it's girl summer done started. Farrah had me out shopping this afternoon. Um, and whoever sent Farrah the gift the other day, thank you so much. I cashed her out today, put it right in her hand. Um Yes, why not? Thank you to the Bougie Gang sisses that sent that right on over. I was like, this is going to help us get everything we need to know for a future case that may or may not come. I mean, we don't know. Nesto might not get to court till damn 2028. Who knows, girl? I mean, it's a mess. We don't know when it's coming, but if it does, they busy over there. Thank you guys. I have got to, girl, it's summertime. Girl, it's going to be another Christmas soon. Okay. Christmas coming. His next court date's not till back to school. Girl, to my sis who sent me the cup, I have to post the pictures. It's a bitch be gone cup. It eliminates the hose. Okay, baby. This is all serving all kinds of funniness. I need to post you guys the picture. She's one of us, and she sent this to me. It's so sweet, and I think she has like a little craft business. So if you like it, I mean, I don't know what else she does, but the bitch be gone is serving. I don't know if I would take it to work unless you work at a place that has a good sense of humor. Because if I'm putting my HR hat on, don't take it to work. But if work is your place, well then maybe. You know what I'm saying? You follow me, right? But yeah, let's get into it. Did you guys watch it already today? So Roberto is the attorney. Let me get you guys caught up. The reason why it's taken me this long, the last hour, is because I was trying to find the case and I found it. I wanted to find who Roberto was the attorney for, and I found that he's representing Tyrone. You better call Tyrone. Brewski. Girl, tell him, come on. Girl, this is a mess. This is like some P Valley stuff. I don't know, but I think it's gonna be it's they're apparently, well, we'll listen to the opening statements, okay? This was very interesting, but I found the case. Hold on. Yes, I'm still here. Um did I miss did I lose my place? Tell me I didn't lose my place. Y'all, the system is like logging folk out so fast now. Okay. 23SC186464. Okay, let me just grab this number so I can pull it all up. Girl. Okay. Okay, here we go. Hold up. So Sean is attorney for one person. Some of these people you're gonna remember from, you're gonna like they're you're gonna know them immediately from YSL, some of the lawyers. Um Hold up. Uh Okay. So this is the cast of characters. We'll go back through it along the way. This is Sean's client right here, Mr. You better call Tyrone. Okay, the lead dude, who they say is the lead defendant, if you will, if there's such a thing, is John Michael Hakeem Gibson. And then there's a host of people. There's some women here. They're accused of trafficking, pimping, drugs, all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna let the judge tell you. Baby, it's a lot. If you didn't catch this today, um, mm, I didn't get the indictment yet. I actually just clicked on the indictment. It's 43 pages. Um, I don't even know if we need it, but we'll see. I might download it tonight. Um, where are we? Let's just get here. Um, there is someone, they mama's up in here. Somebody's mama's up in here. There's a bunch of women. Here, Sean's gonna get up and say his little piece. Look at Sean. Sean been eating good. Okay. Hold on, let me show you where Sean is. Let me give you a little preview. Sean left Nesto high and dry. Okay. Y'all, we got some new screenshots of Roberto. He looks like he hasn't had sleep in several days. Okay. All right. We're gonna say I didn't even listen to this part. We're gonna save that. Um the judge, it goes right into giving the instructions to the jury. Like when I say overruled, when I say sustain, this is what it means. You're not to talk to anybody, all of those things. I'll drop the link so you guys can get caught up. I don't know if we need to hear that part unless you guys absolutely want to. It's only like 20 minutes and I can speed it up, but oh, you can't even see Roberto yet. Hold on a second. Girl, look at this man eating good. Okay. Were you guys watching today? Damn, how many Rico Fani give it? Girl, she says, didn't you see the interview the other? She said it's very effective and it works. She said it's effective and it works. That's what that's what she said, period. She said it's very effective. All right, let's catch. Who was anyone watching this today? I don't even know who this guy Cash Out is. I've never heard of him. But you know, we're getting to a point where baby, it's a whole new people that I was listening to 10 years ago that I thought were young now are middle age and got kids going to middle school. So, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's getting older. Girl, Culture looks like she get ready to be in third grade. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's getting older. Look at Roberto. Okay, look at Ernell Winfrey, y'all. If any of you were wondering, where's Ernell Winfrey? She's right here handling business. Adrian Love is here too. Adrian Love is here. Look at Adrian Love. Hopefully she is not going to be trying to bring the shenanigans. There is a whole table full of folk right over here. This getting ready to be interesting. I don't know how long this is supposed to last, but baby, we can check it out, see what's going on. Let me see where y'all are at, see what you guys are saying. Girl, it's no bye Miss Love. It's hi Miss Love. She's there. She still has her job, but Ernell is obviously the lead. But I don't know what Love is doing. You know, she might be arguing something. Who knows? How is Love still employed? Oh, the whole team is booked and busy. Yes, and remember this gentleman here. I'm sure someone may know someone knows his name. Hold on, him and his son. They were on YSL too. I forgot what their name is. It's like a YSL reunion. Okay. All right. Well, let's just get into it. There's enough talking about it. So this is Judge Leftridge, and this first part, she's giving instructions to the jury.
Charged beyond a reasonable doubt. In this state, a defendant on trial may or may not.
Or as the jury selection that had already happened because they're getting ready to get into opening statements. Did they do like at the very beginning? I guess this is like the first actions right after I guess they've sworn the jury in. She's giving the juries their instruction for what they're to do, what they're not to do, how they're to enter the building, like all of that stuff. And then Ernell Winfrey is going to get up and go into her opening statement at this point. So this just started this afternoon. So I don't know if they came in this morning and did jury selection. But of course that's not televised. And then here we go. Here's Ernell. This is a Rico case. The charges include we'll just go to the main person over here. So this is everybody who is in, hold on, who's at the table right now? So I guess who's at the table, probably more so we know John Michael, HAKEEM Gibson, Deanna, Chantel Sanders, Linda Smith, Kiara Danielle Adams, Tyrone Taylor, and Demetrius Edwards. If I have that correct, maybe it's all those 6, but we're gonna hear in the opening statements who's sitting there. But Sean is representing this guy right here. When I looked at his jacket, he's attached to Sean. So that's that. Can y'all see this? Okay. Let me go back over here and I'll click into his file. I just don't want to click on anything and there's information because, you know, I'm sure Sean Hoover's going to be quite annoyed, but that's not my problem. Okay. As far as what Tyrone Taylor, Hoover's client, girl, Hamilton Road. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Tyrone, he is, girl, Mr. Tyrone is accused of an innocent until proven guilty, right? He is entitled to his day in court. Just very quickly, he's a violation of Rico. Okay. He's accused of rape, aggravated sodomy. Sound familiar, Mr. Williams? Rape, aggravated sodomy, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment, pandering by compulsion, possession of cocaine, tampering with evidence, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers by use of threats or violence, excuse me, y'all, and pimping. Okay.
Offer you opening statement. You should rely on your own recollection of
That's Judge Leffridge.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not be influenced by the notes of other jurors unless their notes help you in determining your own independent collection or impression of each. Ladies and gentlemen, after the trial is over, the notes will be collected and destroyed. That concludes my preliminary instructions, and now we are ready for the lawyers to offer you opening statements. On behalf of the state, is there a desire to offer this jury an opening statement? Yes, Your Honor. You have the floor to do so at this time.
Okay, that's Ernell Winfrey. She is the deputy. Is she deputy chief? I have to get her exact title, but she is a like deputy chief of the special victim sex crimes unit. So anything sex crimes, so that's why she's over that one part of Nesto'S cases. And then again, as you can see, Sean is sitting off to your right, and then we see Love, we see I can't think of this gentleman's name, but so forgive me. But yeah, let's get into it. I might have to speed her up just a tad. If it's too fast, then we'll adjust it.
Promises of love, promises of safety, promises of a better life, promises to level up, promises to lay your head down in a safe place. Promises, promises, promises. You will learn that there were promises given in this case. They were cloaked in profit, cloaked in greed. In their arrogance, predators target the weak who are caught in the schemes they devise. Their eyes watch in secret for their victims, like rattlesnakes hidden in rocks. They lie.
Thank you. It's Attorney Matthews.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that is what this case is about. This
Is it
case is
Matthews?
about
Adams?
these defendants. These defendants who built a proverbial house, if you will, a business on the backs of young women through the lure of their leaders' notoriety. Good afternoon. My name is Uriel Winfrey. As I stated earlier, I, along with my co-counsel, Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love, Deputy District Attorney Grant Wood, represent the state of Georgia. First, I want to thank you for your patience during the arduous task of jury selection, and I thank you in advance for your service today. As you see the evidence unfold in this case, you may see witnesses that may not be in chronological order. Don't be alarmed. Just stay with us to the very end. It will all make sense. The players. Who are the players? John Michael HAKEEM.
Y'all, we gonna be here all night, but jamming. It looks like she just said, "Let me just pick a few things from my closet. It's clean. This clean, that clean." Y'all, please don't get me started tonight. And look at the stenographer. Please do not get me started on the foolishness. Okay. But yes, she just picked a few things and said, let me get my ass to work. I'm running late. Okay. I don't know. I made that up. I don't know if that's true or not, but yes, we get it.
GIBSON, also known as Hout. You will learn that he is the leader of this organization. You heard the word enterprise. It's just a group of people doing criminal acts for money in this case. You will learn that he's the one who set up plays and dates through cell phones, who lured girls in through his notoriety, who promised love and other things to get them to comply, who then in turn coercive.
Let me tell you something outside of pimping. But you see that if you're paying attention to Diddy also, these men these days, I don't want to just say men because I guess it'll be women too eventually, but if you are making promises, you see how she started out talking about some promises? If you're making promises linked to, kind of like quid pro quo, you do this and I'll do that type thing. If you don't make good on these promises, baby, they can get you for fraud. That's fraud. And it's, I don't know what they were promising these women, but I guess relationships, love, money, protection, all these kinds of things. But I wish they had some better microphones.
Also known as Mama Cash Out. You will learn that she is the mother of John Michael GIBSON. And you will also learn all of her involvement, even including being a manager of sorts, even making clothes for girls to wear as they sold themselves. Tyrone Taylor, also known as Brewski, you will learn that he's a cousin of Cash Out, John GIBSON, and you will learn of his involvement. He was like a recruiter. You'll learn that he was trying to be close to someone who's famous to be somebody. You'll learn that he got involved with a young girl he never even knew before, with a promise of a safe place for her to lay her head. And you'll learn of his involvement with other witnesses in this case. The house that Cash built, literally and proverbially, it was built on exploitation, built on girls who were vulnerable. During the course of this trial, you will hear evidence about a criminal enterprise. Now that's a legal term. Don't get confused about that. Like I said, it's just a group of people committing crimes for profit. They organize themselves and they work together to do it. This organization works in the shadows, but it also works in plain sight. They built it by exploiting others, exploiting young women, fueled by deception and coercion, especially young women. Driven by profit and greed, orchestrated by each of them. It was a criminal conspiracy that preyed on vulnerable young women for the purpose of making money. This case is about manipulation. It's about control, mental manipulation. It's about isolation. This case is also about violence. And you've heard at the beginning of the trial all these different counts. We heard racketeering, we heard Rico. Rico is just a pattern that we're going to show that they use to do these criminal acts. Several criminal acts they use to advance their organization to make money. The evidence will show that they operated in a group. You will hear about trafficking a person for sexual services. You hear about pimping. pandering, tampering with evidence, obstruction. All of these criminal acts operate in concert to show that they operated together. That's all we know it is. You will hear from survivors, women who were groomed, women who were isolated and sold. You will see records and messages, financial transactions, witness testimony, victim testimony, all calculated and designed to profit off of human suffering. You will also hear from expert witnesses in this case. Specifically, you will hear from an expert witness whose name is Mary Beth Nelson. She is a witness of human trafficking, and she will give you education and provide the dynamics of sex trafficking and then debunk the big myths about trafficking. To debunk the myth about sex trafficking being the proverbial white man that runs around and snatches women and children off the street and sells them into sex slavery. She'll talk about it being up close and personal and intimate. She'll explain to you the nomenclature or the verbiage used in commercial sex, so you'll understand when the evidence comes out what is being said and what it means. You'll hear from DNA experts, and it's up to you to judge the credibility and the believability for all the witnesses, to include DNA experts, and they will provide their findings. So, who are we really talking about here? This case centers around victims. And you heard many names at the beginning of the initial question you all seen in the general audience. You will learn about Jasmine Brown. You will learn that she's from Delaware, was a ward of the state, meaning she didn't have a connected family. You will learn that her first play was a violent rape.
Y'all are so funny. That is a dictation device. So, there are some court reporters who type into that stenography machine, and there are some that talk into how it works. I cannot even begin to tell you, but I don't know if they're sitting there repeating, or if there is some sort of device that is hearing and transcribing as it's going, but that is the transcription device for the court reporter. Yeah, it's it's a steno mask. Okay, Vic to the Veil, look how smart everybody is. Okay, I didn't know what it was called, but I knew what she was doing. Yes, there's voice recognition. You would think they need to have some sort of better microphone checkers, but okay, shall we continue? We'll be here till about supper. We'll be here for a little minute, but it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll make some stops. We're gonna keep it very casual. Can imagine. Okay. Nesto is getting a preview, baby. Nesto's getting a good preview. And we're giving Sean some press. Okay. Okay. All right. Absolutely good, Judy. Okay. All right, guys, let's continue.
Set up by her trafficker, John Michael HAKEEM Gibson. You will learn that she ended up getting out of that situation by some brave law enforcement folks who stepped in and saw her and helped her get out. And it was from her disclosure that all the drug holders were able to find other survivors and victims to bring these defendants to justice. You will learn about Jordan Adams, who was also a vulnerable young woman who had gotten kicked out of her home and was on the streets of Atlanta. She ran into Tyrone Taylor, also known as Lucy, who promised her a safe place to lay her head that night at a hotel on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Unbeknownst to her, she's raped and she is sodomized. You will learn that Mr. Taylor, Lieutenant Taylor, he invited Cash Out over to have fun with her as well, and she was victimized all night long. You will learn she was also then put out on the street to go and sell herself. You will learn about Jessica McQuarrie, who is from Indiana, and she was involved with Cash Out during the early years. Dominique Wiewitkowski, you'll learn about her. Talicia Dubin, Frederica Spencer, Talibia Wright, Chantori Tolbert, Diamond Irvin. You will learn that while each of them found themselves in this heinous situation, the one common thread It said, while they suffered, they survived. They were robbed of their dignity and cloaked in shame. We will show that the defendants in this case used threats of harm, physical harm, psychological abuse, financial control, and drugs to trap their victims. And we will demonstrate that this organized group had a command structure, specific roles, specific rules, but the product in this case was human beings. Human beings used over and over and over again. You will learn how Cash Out and his mother, Mama Cash Out, and the cousin Bruce, this is all in the family, and how they work together in order to obtain this goal. This goal was to make money, motivated by money. The enterprise, it used tactics designed to recruit women, designed to control women, designed to exploit young women. Some of these women were often desperate. For the purpose of commercial sex, this is what they were obtained for. They lured them through a pattern of systematic plans. All of this, again, to gain money. The victims were groomed, isolated from their families, and coerced. And the people sitting behind this operation, they knew exactly what they were doing. The house that they built, the foundation is weak. The backs of the young women that made the money for them, they had no control of the money. Some of them subject to sexual violence, some of them subject to physical violence, all of them subject to psychological violence. Now, there's something important you will hear in this work. Two of the co-defendants, individuals who were once part of this very enterprise, will take the stand and they will testify with the prosecution. They will tell you what they saw, they will tell you what they did, and they will tell you what these defendants did. The witnesses were not promised anything in return, no deals, no promises, no favors. They are coming forward because the truth matters. And because they know what happened, they know it must be brought to the light. Their testimony will be of Kiara Adams. You will learn that she's been involved with Cash Out from being early on, since about 2014 to about 2022. Intimately involved with the inner workings and dealings of this organized way of committing crimes. She will describe to you in detail all that she did, her part in it, and all that they did, and their part in it. You will also hear from Deanna Sanders. She was in a relationship with Cash Out. And you will learn that all of these girls believed that they were in a relationship with Cash Out. All of them learned and felt as though he loved them, or they were his girlfriend, or they were his wife, or soon-to-be wife, all of that. And Deanna Sanders will talk to you about her physical abuse at the hands of this woman. You will have corroboration. You will have the testimony, will be supported by a mountain of evidence, text messages, financial records, witness accounts, victim testimony, all of it pointing to the same conclusion. The defendants worked together, exploiting human lives for profit. Now, the court already instructed the burden is on us, it's on the state. The defendants have no burden whatsoever. They don't have to put up a scintilla of evidence at all. But I want to inform you to be mindful of the distractions, to not go down the rabbit holes. The evidence will be the evidence. I ask you to take notes, copious notes. We'll be here for a while. So you may not remember something from the first day to the last day. This evidence will be disturbing. I will admit the details will be hard to listen to and difficult, but they are necessary. Because at the end of this trial, the only conclusion the evidence will support is that the defendants ran a criminal enterprise that trafficked human beings. Defendants Taylor and defendants Gibson even sodomized and raped one of the victims. And this pattern of criminal behavior must be brought to light. And the defendants must be held accountable. You will learn that there is nothing that is concealed that will not be disclosed or hidden, and that all will be made known. What has been done and said in the dark will be heard in the daylight. And what has been whispered in the ear, in the inner rooms, will be proclaimed from this witness stand. I will come back to you at the end of this case. And we will talk about all the evidence you heard. and we will do all the applicable law. And I will come back and ask you to find all of the defendants guilty. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Matthews, on behalf of Mr. Gibson, would you like to offer this jury an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the floor to do so at this time, sir.
Thank you.
She said, "What was done in the dark will come to the light, and we will ask you to find them guilty." Sean's like, "Well, Nesto, I'll see you in 2027.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I want to take this opportunity to thank you in advance for your time and your attention that you have given to us for these last 7 or 8 days and getting you all selected. We have selected the jury that is the fairest jury to hear this case. I have an opportunity and a privilege and an honor to represent Mr. John Michael Gibson, along with myself and Attorney Carson Matthews Jr. You have been impaneled, ladies and gentlemen, to hear and listen to evidence and law in this case. The trial of John Michael Gibson, aka Cash Out. Who is John Michael Gibson? He's 34 years old. He's an American rapper. He was born in Columbus, Georgia. He moved to the Atlanta area as a teen. Came from humble beginnings. He moved to Atlanta, Georgia, living with his mother and his siblings, east side of Atlanta, and he developed a love for music. He worked hard in the development of his craft. He didn't allow his humble beginnings. He did not allow where he was born. He did not allow his circumstances to stop his dreams. What were his dreams, ladies and gentlemen? His dreams were to write music, to write lyrics, become an artist, sell records, to do concerts. Through his hard work, through his dedication, through his sacrifice, that came to fruition. He went in the studio, right here in the Atlanta area, started working, started putting his talent to work, putting his hard work and sacrifice to effort. And that effort began to pay off. So he was 21 years old when music executive L.A. Reid invited him to New York City, along with his local management, to be signed. Mr. Gibson, he performed for L.A. Reid up in New York City. When he performed for them, they spent the entire day talking in a boardroom with industry executives. And they signed John Michael Gibson, Cash Out, Epic Records. When they signed Mr. Gibson, His first major song was a song by the name of Cash It Out. It was released in March 2012. It peaked at number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was runner-up in the hip hop department, and it topped as hot rap songs. Mr. Gibson toured all over the nation, every city, every state. He was famous and still is. He was known. His songs were being played all summer long, all year long. And he did well for himself. He didn't just stop with making that one single. He made another single, released it in 2012, featuring Wale. He made another single in 2012 called She's Working. These are songs that were played everywhere. Single released in 2014, still working. Released an album.
We need her now around with Keisha. Girl like Keisha. Right out of town for at the park. We want a whole loaf, leave y'all the cash now. Got a condo around right.
Okay. That's homie. Yes, that's him right there.
That girl like
You know, I can't play too much.
me. Just grab your camcorder.
It's a bop. It's a little bop or two or three. I'll drop the link and you guys can get into it afterwards. After we finish with court, go ahead and bop to it while you make a little supper. Okay. You guys are so silly. I'm trying to have a serious program here. Y'all just want me to act cut up. Y'all, that's what y'all like from me is the cut up friend. Okay. All right, come on now. We're in court right now, y'all. Okay, we are in court. Okay. Lambo's daddy just came home and he is about to act a complete fool. I don't even want y'all to hear it. Can you hear him screaming right now? Like he's about to act a fool. Okay, I'm gonna go on mute because it's gonna get very loud. Hold on. Where's my thing? Okay.
In 2014, Let's Get It. Features with Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla, Rich Montano, Rich Homie Quan, Waka Flocka. These are not just local artists, these are national artists that Mr. Gibson was working with and worked with. These are 12 tracks. This is a full album, working. These songs aren't making themselves. Released another album in 2014, featuring Snoop Dogg, Rich the Kid. DJ
Okay,
Bob
we
Black.
hear you, Mr. Matthews, but that doesn't mean that he want pimping.
He worked with these artists. In November 2014, released another album at 11 tracks. 2014, another album. It's My Time. Keisha, another one, 2015. 17 tracks. Working, owning his craft, touring, taking care of himself. This is the house that Cash built. 2015, 8 tracks. Tracks or songs. Born for This, featuring Rich Homie Quan, released in 2016. song called Little Baby, released in 2016. Ran Up a Check featuring Lil Yachty, again in 2016. Work. And the list continues to go on. 2016. 2017. 2019. 2020. Those are all songs, albums, Mr. Gibson working, taking care of his business, and building his craft. Now, we are now here in this trial. He's been charged with count 1 for Rico. There's no conspiracy here. There's no criminal enterprise, and there's no structure to any criminal organization. The evidence will show that there was no organization that resulted in structure, that resulted in there being a scheme, meetings, officers, the things that you would see in a corrupt, criminal, mafia-style organization that Rico was built for. The evidence is going to show that this goes back, in terms of this indictment, from 2013, 10, 12 plus years ago, to 21. The evidence is going to show that this was put together in a Rico case. They put this together. Now let's talk about some of these persons that you will hear from. Now the allegation, ladies and gentlemen, is that Celicia Dewberry pimped and pandered. She was interviewed by members of the district attorney's office several years later. 6, 7 years later. 22 maybe, 2022. And you will hear her tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it was not Mr. Gibson, that it's this girl named Raven. That I went to high school with. So I encourage you to follow along and listen to what comes out. It's not a rabbit hole. It's not distractions. It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be asking questions and getting answers. It's this girl named Raven I went to high school with. You're not going to hear that Mr. Gibson recruited her, enticed her to be pimped or pandered. Jessica McQuarrie. Keep in mind the dates. 2013, 2014. So the evidence is going to show that she was interviewed in 2022, 8 years later. You will hear that she moved to Georgia from Indiana to be with a man named James Jefferson. She did not come to Georgia to be with John Michael. You will hear that she was in communication with her mother, Christine Spurlock. And there was no pimping or pandering, no simple battery. So you listen to it. Some of it may be hard to hear. Our job is not to be brutal. Our job is not to demean. Our job is to get the information. to get the information so that you can hear it and so that you can evaluate it. Dominique Wojciechowski, still in 2015 now. Interviewed when? 2022. You see the trend. You're going to see the trend. 2022. You're going to be asking yourself these questions. You're all being interviewed around the same time. I will ask you to follow this case. You will not find any proof that Mr. Gibson committed a sex trafficking on Dominique Wojciechowski. Frederica Spencer and Talithia Wright. I put them together, ladies and gentlemen, because they were together. They were together. The evidence is going to show that they were together when they came to Georgia from Alabama. You're going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, that they didn't come here because Mr. Gibson asked them to come here. You're going to hear that they came to Georgia because Deanna Sanders asked them to come to Georgia. And look at the date, August 1 to August 13. They were interviewed when? 2022. One in April, one in August. Now, when we get them on the stand, when they come to sit and take this witness stand, we're going to talk. We're going to have some conversation. What did they tell the police that morning? You will hear evidence that they're going to tell the police that they were robbed by 3 men at the Delk Road Baymont Inn. But you may hear something different when they take the stand. You may hear that they may say that they were raped by a guy or 2 guys. And we're going to talk about all those things. Because you will have an opportunity to listen to the evidence. You will have an opportunity to weigh the evidence. You'll have an opportunity to listen to and evaluate credibility. And you will do that. There was no pimping and there was no pandering by Mr. John Michael Gibson of Frederica Spencer and Talithia Wright. Jasmine Brown. Mr. Gibson is charged with trafficking Jasmine Brown on March 27, 2018. March 28, 18. She comes into this courtroom and you talk to her and she talks to you and she tells you what she tells you. Then we're going to compare what she tells you to what she's told other people. You'll have an opportunity to listen to the evidence. You will have an opportunity to weigh the evidence. You will have an opportunity to weigh credibility. And you're going to learn that Jasmine Brown is her own person. She did what she wanted. You'll have an opportunity to see text messages. So we're going to go through it. When we go through it, you'll have an opportunity to listen to the evidence. You'll have an opportunity to weigh the evidence. You'll have an opportunity to weigh credibility. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard a very long indictment being read. When you heard that indictment being read, there were multiple counts in the indictment. And in that indictment, which is not evidence, but it's a document that they put together, being the district attorney's office. You'll have an opportunity to listen to the evidence. You'll have an opportunity to weigh the evidence. You'll have an opportunity to weigh credibility. Count 24, they're charging Mr. Gibson with aggravated assault. They're saying that Mr. Gibson struck Ms. Brown with a belt that likely caused seriously bodily injury. Then if you just walk a few steps down the road through the path of the indictment, and you'll stumble upon the same allegation charging Mr. Gibson with the same conduct, and they chose to charge it as simple battery now, count 30. Beating with the belt. This is their document that they charged Mr. Gibson with. You'll have an opportunity to make it make sense in their indictment. Which is it? Is it either? How can it be both? Why did they put them both in there? We're going to talk about all those things. I want you to listen carefully. You will not find any belt in evidence. You will not find a picture of a belt in evidence. You will not find a description in any paperwork of a belt. Now, part of this case charged Mr. Gibson with keeping a place of prostitution. They're saying that on June 7th at 737 Alpha Road, that this place was a place to practice prostitution. The evidence is going to show, ladies and gentlemen, that there was a search warrant that was conducted at this address. You will not hear any evidence that in the search of this location that they found condoms, lubricants, baby oil, no surveillance equipment. You're not going to hear any evidence that there were printed materials promoting illegal services, no ledgers or appointment books, no controlled substances. In the search warrant, they're going to say he fed them drugs. Then they charged Mr. Gibson with willful obstruction on that day in June of 2019. They're saying he refused to come out. The evidence is going to show, ladies and gentlemen, that he was in the bed. The evidence is going to show that they used some type of tear gas or some other technique or tactic, and that there was gas in the room. There will be evidence that he complied and came out. They charged him with willful obstruction. Ladies and gentlemen, they charged Mr. Gibson with possession of a firearm during commission or attempt to commit a felony on June 6, 2019 through June 7, 2019. They alleged that Mr. Gibson had on him or within arm's reach a handgun during the commission of a felony against and involving the person of another. The person of another, you will learn that it says trafficking a person for sexual servitude. But the evidence, ladies and gentlemen, will show that the only people in the residence at the time was Mr. Gibson and Ms. Adams. The evidence will show that there was no person that alleged to have been trafficked was inside the residence or on the property. So the evidence is going to show, ladies and gentlemen, that a gun, but there's no alleged trafficked person in the residence. There's no alleged trafficked person on the property. But they find a gun, and they say, oh, it's in possession of a firearm during the commission or attempted commission of trafficking a person. Yeah, this is going to show otherwise on that day. Jordan Adams, ladies and gentlemen, January 11, 2019 through January 12, 2019. They are alleging, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Gibson trafficked by coercion, that he physically confined her restrained her. That's count 14. And then he raped her on count 10. And then he committed aggravated sodomy, alleging that he forced her to have oral sex on him. That's what's being alleged on January 11th, January 12th, 2019. However, ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is going to point in another direction. What direction, ladies and gentlemen, is it going to point? Where is it going to lead us? Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is going to show that Jordan Adams, she was handed a folder with 6 photographs. And of those 6 photographs, ladies and gentlemen, it included a picture of Mr. Tyrone Gibson, amongst 5 others. Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Adams picked out a totally different person that she said most like cash out. Now the allegations is that she was sexually assaulted all night long by Mr. Gibson, Mr. Taylor. But she picks out a photograph of someone totally different who is not John Michael Gibson. And on it, she writes, most like cash out. But it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. It goes farther. In her recorded interview, the day she spoke with the police, the question was asked, well, what did cash out look like?
Not the Temu version, not even the Zeus version, or the what's the other one called? Zeus or Tubi version. It's the Temu version of the Diddy trial. It's definitely giving some elements. I mean, maybe that's why, maybe Nesto gonna be next. Maybe Nesto's gonna be next, because they are not playing with these Ricos and making promises. I know. Let me stop. Since Ernell Winfrey started off on some promises. Okay. Hoover is up next, y'all. Sir is long-winded. Okay, when is Hoover? Hoover will be up in that's Mama somebody. That's the mama who was making outfits for the girls, allegedly. Yeah, we got about 10 more minutes of Mr. Matthews in his very custom suit.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been here for 7 or 8 days. We're all human. We all have eyes. Our eyes have vision. And you've had an opportunity to see Mr. Gibson. You all came in here, you looked at Mr. Gibson. You looked at Mr. Taylor. You looked at Ms. Smith. And you eyeball. Because that's just human nature. So they asked the question, what did cash out look like? Six tall. She said maybe 6 feet. 6'2".
Yeah, Hoover needs some help. Hoover needs help, period.
These are her words.
Yes, there's female
But it
defendants.
doesn't
There's a
stop
couple.
there, ladies and gentlemen. The evidence is going to show that it goes farther. There was DNA evidence. You're going to hear from Ashley Hinkle. She's a forensic biologist with the GBI. So there was a kit, a sexual assault kit, And this is right after. There's a sexual assault kit that was done. It was preserved. And it was ultimately sent to GBI. And then one day, ladies and gentlemen, they got a Q-tip and they asked Mr. Gibson to open his mouth, and they swabbed the inside of his jaw. And when they did that, they preserved that. And then they sent it to GBI. So now they have the kit that they got from Miss Adams. And now they have the swabbing from Mr. Gibson. And what does the GBI do? What does Ms. Hinkle do? What does the forensic biologist do? They do their science. When they do their science, they offer a report. And that report comes back, ladies and gentlemen. And we have an opportunity to read the report. And the evidence, ladies and gentlemen, is going to show that John Michael Gibson is excluded from the data obtained from the major contributor genotype obtained from the second fraction from the vaginal vestibule swab. August 27, 2021. Mr. Gibson is charged with human trafficking and pimping of Kiara Adams for the purposes of prostitution. And this is in conjunction with a Gwinnett County case. The evidence is going to show, ladies and gentlemen, that that case was dismissed at preliminary hearing in Gwinnett County. Sean Torrey Talbot, July 1, 2020 through July 11, 2020. The charge Mr. Gibson with trafficking through the use of deception and coercion, pimping and pandering, keeping a place of prostitution, going back to that Alfred Road address. Now, what is the evidence going to show? The evidence is going to show that Sean Torrey Talbot got in her vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. She's 32 years old, and that she drove herself to Georgia from Texas in her own vehicle with her own money and with her dog. And she's 32 years old, not 18. This is not a case about minors. This is a case about adults. 32 years old, ladies and gentlemen. For 10 days, that's what they're saying, that he trafficked her. The evidence is going to show that Mr. Tyrone Gibson, John Michael Gibson did not traffic Shatori Talbot. And we'll get into it. You'll have an opportunity to listen to the evidence, weigh the evidence, and weigh the credibility. We've already talked about the Gwinnett County charge. Now, you may hear jail calls. associated with this case. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the state talk about co-conspirators. Well, I don't know if they're co-conspirators or not. That's going to be for you to determine. That's what you're here to do. That's how they are being labeled. Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, you will have an opportunity to listen to the evidence on them. You're going to have an opportunity to listen to the evidence on them. You will have an opportunity to weigh the credibility. You will hear that they, on this indictment, you're going to hear that they were charged. Now, you heard the state of Georgia say, well, there have been no promises made. Well, we're going to get into whether there were promises made. We're going to get into whether they made proffers, whether they made statements to the district attorney's office, who was present, what were they facing. You're going to hear all of that. You're going to have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to determine what was their motivation in what they said. What was their interest in what they said? Was there anything, or is there anything over their head? Or do they have to come in here and talk in order for things to go smoothly with their case? You will have an opportunity to judge credibility. You will have an opportunity to determine those things that motivate people to say whatever they're going to say. And then when it's all said and done, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask you to weigh the evidence, listen to the evidence, judge credibility. This is a very long indictment, which is not evidence. There are a lot of witnesses. But if you stay with us, which we know you will, we'll come back later. We'll tie it all together. When we tie it all together, we're going to come back and we're going to ask you to find Mr. John Michael Gibson. Not close. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Mr. Francis, on behalf of Ms. Smith.
Ms. Smith is not guilty of the charges concerning this indictment. Ms. Smith is not guilty of the charges concerning this indictment. You will not see any evidence that Ms. Smith coerced anybody into a life of sexual servitude. She did not deceive anyone into a life of sexual servitude. She did not gain financially from anyone's sexual servitude.
Hold on.
She did not
Did y'all see him up here? I was like, wait a second. What is he doing? He came walking up there so quick, and I know I have it a little bit sped up, but I'm like, damn. Hold on. He came through like.
Mr. Francis, on behalf of Ms. Smith.
Look how he's coming up. Like, I ain't got time for this. I'm not finna play with y'all. I'm about to give y'all about a good 5 minutes, and I'm gonna wrap this up in about 3 minutes. Okay.
Ms. Smith is not guilty of the charges concerning this indictment. Ms. Smith is not guilty of the charges concerning this indictment. You will not see any evidence that Ms. Smith coerced anybody into a life of sexual servitude.
Dennis, what's up, Dennis?
She did not gain financially from anyone's sexual servitude. She did not subject anyone to sexual servitude. She did not harbor anyone in sexual servitude. And she did not maintain anyone in sexual servitude. All of the witnesses that will come and talk to you have already made statements. And when you listen to those statements, what you'll hear is, it's sort of barely new witness. She was around, but it's sort of barely new. No one's going to say that she did anything for them. And second, you're not going to see a single text message that illustrates that Linda Smith forced anyone into sex. You're not going to see an Instagram message. You're not going to see a video. You're not going gonna see a Facebook message. You're not gonna see anything. And she forced anyone to see anyone into a life of sex. Linda Smith is not a part of a group of individuals committing crime. She's not. She's not. There's going to be no evidence that she had any intent to be a part of any group, that she had any knowledge of any organized crime, any racketeering, anything of that nature. Linda Smith received some cash checks from a few people over a period of years. She received cash checks from Deanna for a couple of reasons. Deanna rented a room from Linda Smith with her own money. There's even a check that she wrote for this. And Kiara used Linda Smith's car incorrectly. And so, as a result of that, she cashed after the money for her car. So, she does not gain anything from any enterprise, she's not part of any enterprise. All of the statements that were made to law enforcement, when people were arrested, in this case was investigated, barely mentioned Linda Smith. Evidence will not be there. You'll see it for yourself. And at the end of the evidence, you ask to find Linda Smith not guilty of all charges.
All right, Mr. Hoover, Your Honor, let's take down the PowerPoint that was together.
Sure. Which the PowerPoint, if it's up, will you take it down? Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tyrone Taylor didn't rape Jordan Adams. Tyrone Taylor didn't force himself on Jordan Adams. Tyrone Taylor didn't force Jordan Adams into prostitution. Tyrone Taylor is not guilty of what the state has charged him. Now, this case starts with Jordan Adams way before January 11th and January 12th. This actually starts a couple months earlier in Cobb County. You're going to hear evidence and testimony.
Hold on. Is that supposed to be effective gesturing by pointing to the state's table? I mean, I guess it probably is, but I don't know. I don't like it very much. But yeah, so he's saying it's starting in Cobb County. I wish, number one, they would use their damn microphones and they would turn down the air in that that courtroom. And then someone asked, what is this case about? It's a Rico. First of all, it's where we found Sean Hoover. Okay, that's number one. Look where we found Sean Hoover. That's the title. Number two, just so happens that it's a Rico trial for a dude named Cash Out. If you want the full, just slide back to the beginning. Ernell Winfrey, who is going to be prosecuting Nesto'S sexual assault case, did the opening statement for the state. So I thought this would be interesting because this is a cast of characters we know and we'll be getting to know through a case that brought most of us all together. So this is the opening. But basically this case revolves around a guy whose name is John Michael. Okay, John Michael HAKEEM GIBSON, who is a rapper from Atlanta who is being accused of a host of many crimes to include sex trafficking, pimping, violation of Rico, aggravated assault, just to name a few, and to be a leader of a criminal enterprise by way of his music endeavors. What did it say over here? The indictment alleges that Cash Out, along with other defendants, used his record label, Pyrez Music Group, PMG, as a front to lure, entice, and recruit women into prostitution. Okay. Cash Out faces several serious. So it's a Rico type thing. They're not using the G word, but basically it's almost like someone, I think someone said it's the Timu Diddy trial. Okay, which I may have to agree on that a little bit. You know, it's definitely giving some of those elements. Cash Out faces several serious charges, including rape, sex trafficking, luring women into prostitution. He is also charged with violating Georgia's Rico Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, suggesting the prosecution views his alleged activities as part of a criminal enterprise. Two other defendants are reportedly facing similar charges: Linda Smith, the lady with the tats on her neck, and Tyrone Taylor, who is Roberto's client. Cash Out and the other individuals involved were re-indicted in 2023 on additional charges. Prosecutors claim Cash Out was the leader of the alleged criminal enterprise using violence and coercion. Jury selection started on the 2nd. Opening statements started today. This is expected to go several weeks. I don't know that we're going to broadcast this like every day, all, you know what I mean? But it's interesting enough, and we'll see how we're gonna play it by ear. Let's see what else. I guess we'll learn more as we go. Hopefully they're going to fix this mic situation. But it, like I said, it's interesting enough right now. And as long as you guys are up for it, we'll watch it. If, we'll just, like I said, let's just play it by ear. We're here today, number one, on some just kind of seeing what Roberto's performance looks like. And also, this Rico thing playing itself out in a Fulton County courtroom. So here we go. Let's get back into it. We don't have much more to go. Maybe like 30 minutes. Okay.
Jordan Adams was found under the influence of cocaine, driving a vehicle with her daughter in the backseat. She was arrested for that. Because she was arrested, DFACS gave custody of her daughter to her mother. You're also going to hear evidence that while Jordan Adams was out with that case pending, she stayed in the house with her parents and her daughter. Her father found a syringe full of drugs in the staging house her daughter was in. You're going to hear evidence that because she, once again, endangered the life of her daughter, her father kicked her out of the house. Fast forward to January 11th. A couple months later, Jordan Adams happens to be at a gas station. Supposedly, she's telling people that she's going to the airport because she doesn't have anywhere to go. She goes to the gas station, runs into Tyrone Taylor. Goes up to Tyrone. Hey,
Is it me?
a couple bucks so I can get to
Because
the
of Bush Gang?
Tyrone says, yes, I will help you out. Gives her a couple dollars. Tyrone says, hey, can I have your phone number? Jordan says, yes. Willingly gave Tyrone her phone number after he gave her a couple dollars. Fast forward a couple hours, Tyrone's texting her, hey, what's up? Hey, what are you doing? Where you at? Jordan Adams says, I can't talk right now because I don't have a place to stay. I'm a little busy. I don't have a place to stay. So Tyrone goes, hey, if you need some help, you can come stay with us for a little bit. Jordan Adams says, okay, tells Tyrone where she is. Tyrone doesn't have a car of his own at the time, so he sends a friend to pick her up. Jordan Adams willingly gets into this vehicle. No one forced him to. Jordan Adams, the friend drives Jordan Adams to the airway hotel.
My bad, guys. That might have been something I did. I'm sorry.
Jordan Adams
Let me
willingly
be
gets out
still.
of the vehicle. No one forced her to. Jordan Adams goes up to the door, knocks on it, and willingly goes into Tyrone's room. No one forced her to. Now, once in the room, drugs are there. Everyone's, well, not everyone. People are doing drugs. Stuff is happening. That's it. That's all we know as of right now. Fast forward, Jordan starts to tell this story about what happens in that room, and depending on who she's talking to, her story changes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear the evidence is going to show you that the very first person that Jordan was communicating with was her mother via text message. The evidence is going to show you Jordan never said, hey, Mom, I'm being raped by two men. Send help. You're never going to see evidence that says, hey, Mom, I'm being tortured and kidnapped by two men. This is where I am. Hey, Mom, I'm being held on my own. I have nowhere to go, nothing to do. Please send help. What you're going to hear is Jordan said things like, don't call anyone because I'll go to jail. Or, Mom, I'm going to call a friend to come pick me up. I'll take care of that on my own. Or, Mom, don't say anything that's going to get me in trouble. The state wants you to believe that Tyrone Taylor and Mr. Gibson are raping Jordan Adams from 6 to 12 hours, torturing her, abusing her, kidnaps her. The very first person she talks to about this, and she basically says, don't call anyone because I'm going to get arrested. Fast forward to, January 12th, when she's talking to officers. The second story, second time she has an opportunity to say what actually happened. Now, the evidence is going to show you that she tells officers, as soon as she walks into that room, Tyrone made her take a shower, and then the rape started happening immediately. She says it's Tyrone is the only one raping her, and basically for about 3 to 4 hours, it's Tyrone continuously. He would get up, he would stop for a minute, and then he'd go right back to her. First time she talks to an officer, that's what she says. Then she adds in, well, you know what? It happened up to about 3 a.m., then Mr. Gibson shows up. And now it's 2 men raping her from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. that same morning. So with this story, she tells the cops that 2 men are brutally raping her, torturing her, physically holding her down to the point where she can't move or breathe. They're choking her to where she can't move or breathe. She is scratching them, she is fighting them, but she can't stop. Sometimes both of them rape her together. Sometimes they rape her one by one. Sometimes they use condoms. Sometimes they didn't. And every time one of them would stop, they would give her cocaine. So ladies and gentlemen, the first time she talks to an officer, she says, 2 men raped me from 9 to 12 hours straight. They never really stopped because one of them were always doing something. But when one would pause, I would have cocaine. So she's getting raped, tortured, and beaten, and drugged for 9 to 12 hours straight. A month later, she's talking to other officers. This time, she tells officers, well, when I got to the room, I took a shower. Tyrone didn't rape me for the first few hours. The rape didn't start until 3 a.m. when Mr. Gibson shows up. The story's already starting to change again. This time, she goes on to say, yes, they both raped me for all this time. They drugged me the entire time. I couldn't do anything about it. But I was scratching them. I was doing all that, but I couldn't do anything else about it. The first time they talked to the officers, Jordan Adams said, well, all I saw was cocaine. They kept giving me cocaine. The second time they talked to the officers, Jordan Adams, oh no, there was.
You know what? To me, this is not an opening statement. This is just a onslaught of details that as a juror, I would be like, wasn't there a way to tell this story high level? He must have not, I don't know, he must have missed that day of litigation school or something. How to just tell a high level overview and maybe save it for the wrap up, save it for the closing statements, giving all of these random details and acting. He is testifying, right? And seeming so annoyed and full of hearsay because he's like, so and so said this and so said that. It's like this wouldn't even play out in some of these other courtrooms we've been in. Okay. But it's like, there's a way to tell a detailed story without getting in the weeds. He's in the weeds right now. It's too much. It's too damn much. And you seem bothered. His sugar must be low. Something's wrong.
Okay.
Look how angry he looks. And this is a sexual assault case. I don't know if I'm sure he's talking to at least a couple of women. We're not trying to help him. We're not giving no tips, but damn it. Girl, we know how his last case turned out. Life plus 20.
There was marijuana, there was vodka, there was tequila. We were doing everything. Her story completely changes every single time. What we do know at some point, Jordan is not in that room with Tyrone. She's not in that room with Mr. Gibson. Jordan, for 3 hours, let Jordan tell you, she is walking up and down the street from the hotel to the Rico. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is why this is so important. While Jordan Adams was walking up and down the street from the Rico, she was by herself. We have no idea where Mr. Gibson is because she kind of forgets about him and doesn't say anything. But she says Tyrone was in the hotel room. So Miss Adams is walking up and down the street by herself with a cell phone. She goes to the Citgo. We know the day before she was 100% okay with begging people for money so she can get help. But now, fast forward, she's been raped by 2 men she doesn't know for 6 to 12 hours, depending on who she's talking to. She goes to the Citgo. She doesn't tell anybody she got raped. She doesn't go inside to the employee and say, hey, I'm being raped. I've been kidnapped. They're forcing me to prostitute. She doesn't do that. For 3 hours, she's walking up and down that street, seeing people, communicating with people. She never once said, help me, I have been raped. I am being tortured. I've been kidnapped. They're forcing me into prostitution. Ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to hear that during this time, Jordan Adams runs into the hotel manager. The manager goes out, what are you doing? Why are you walking around? Jordan Adams does not say, help me, I have been raped. She does not say, help me, I have been kidnapped. I have been tortured. They are beating me and forcing me into prostitution. Jordan says, you know what? I'm going to go get some cigarettes. That's why I'm walking, so I'm just going to get cigarettes. Those 2 times, Jordan could have told somebody, I need help. Again, she had her cell phone this entire time. Tyrone's nowhere around. Mr. Gibson disappears. She never called a family member and said, hey, Mom, this is where I am. Come get me. I've been raped. She never called a friend. Hey, this is where I am.
PTSD.
Come get me. I've been raped. Citgo gas station, doesn't say a word. Hotel manager, doesn't say a word. Has a cell phone in her hand.
Maybe because she's a junkie. She doesn't think anyone's going to believe her. You know what I mean? People go through bargaining and trying to figure out, like, was it my fault? Nobody's going to believe me. Look at my clothes. They have a lot of self-doubt. It's like, look, you're dealing like a street girl. And she, you know what I mean? She may feel like maybe she's lied in her past. Who knows? And this is the time that it really means something. And she doesn't feel like anyone's going to take her word. But he's coming off so angry. Yeah. PTSD, shock, doubt, self-doubt. She could be playing the blame game with herself. There's any number of reasons why someone does not report a crime right away. Look at those girls in Idaho that knew something happened in that house, but damn stayed in that room for 12 hours because they were so frightened and scared. You know what I mean? Like, you'll never know what you're going to do when trauma happens. He's just, girl, look at his face. He's so angry. I wonder if he didn't have lunch. It's giving hungry. It's giving hangry.
And by herself, doesn't say a word, but the state wants you to believe that 2 men raped her
Girl,
for half a day, up to
hot
12
dog
hours,
neck.
and she doesn't leave. And just to give you an idea, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see that the Citgo is half a mile away from the hotel, the Airway Motel, where it used to be. That's 2,640 feet. Takes about 10 minutes to walk there. You're also going to see the Atlanta Police Department Zone 4 precinct was 410 feet away from that hotel. It takes less than 2 minutes to get there. And what's crazy, to get to the Citgo from the hotel, she passed the precinct. So what that means, for 3 hours, she's walking up and down the street, past the police precinct, but she never goes in. She never goes up there and says, hey, these 2 guys are raping me. These 2 guys are forcing me into prostitution. These 2 guys are beating me with the butt of a gun, and they're torturing me, and I can't breathe. But the state wants you to believe that they raped her for 12 hours. She's by herself the entire time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to hear testimony that allegedly Tyrone, after he forced her out into prostitution, said, if a man picks you up, take him to the Quality Inn. The Quality Inn is right next door to the precinct. Once again, she has an opportunity to go to another hotel to tell somebody, away from these 2 men, I'm getting raped and abused. She didn't do it. There's a reason she didn't do it, ladies and gentlemen, because she got kicked out of her house while she was out with a pending case for drugs, doing drugs and making money the only way she knows how. That's why she was out there in Fulton Industrial. But the state wants you to believe that 2 men raped her, tortured her, beat her, choked her, suffocated her, crushed her body, and drugged her the entire time for 6 to 12 hours. Yet Jordan Adams still had enough power and strength and energy to walk up and down the street for 3 hours and didn't tell anybody about that. With the cell phone in her hand, nobody around. Now, at some point, an officer is going to ask her, well, why didn't you just walk away? Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Adams' response to that is because they had my stuff in that room. The officer said, what was the stuff? Jordan Adams said, some of my clothes and a phone charger. The state wants you to believe that 2 men raped her, beat her, and tortured her, and kidnapped her, and forced her into prostitution for half a day, up to 12 hours. And the reason she didn't leave was because she didn't have all her clothes and a phone charger. Does that make sense? Absolutely not. Now, Mr. Matthews touched a little.
If you got kicked out your house and all you have is that bag with the phone charger, those items, come on, he's very out of touch. He's very out of touch. It's very much a turn off, and I think that he's stupid. I'm sorry, I said it again. This is ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Someone who just got kicked out the house, don't have anything, and all of your items, all of your possessions are in one place, and you're hooked on drugs a little bit, I guess, I'm assuming, and you don't have money to pay for it, and your plug is your pimp. I mean, this is a bad set of circumstances, but this is the type of stuff that happens every single day. Why is this not plausible? I think it's possible. Why not? His clients are supposed to be so better.
A little bit on DNA evidence. And he was right, the same kit was done. Just like they swapped.
I didn't say that. Don't say that about me. Yeah. No. I'm just saying it's not. As a woman, I'm not buying his argument.
Officers also documented and collected gray bedding from the Airway Motel room, black bedding from the Airway Motel room, one used condom, swabs from both of their mouths, the rape kit. Now, with the rape kit, this is very important. They collected swabs from the vaginal wall, swabs from the vaginal vestibule.
I'm waiting for him to say, let me break this all the way down. Let me break this down. Let me about to get real nasty with it.
Anus swabs, oral cavity swabs, inner thigh swabs, left side nail swabs, right side nail swabs, known head hair, left side nail clippings, and right side nail clippings. They collected all of that evidence, and what you are not going to hear in this trial at all is that they can find Tyrone Taylor's DNA on him. A man that raped her, beat her, and tortured her for 6 to 12 hours, depending on what she says and who she's talking to, they won't find DNA. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to see.
Did he just scratch under his arms in court? Did Tyrone just scratch up under his arms in court, y'all?
Hours, depending on what she says and who she's talking to, they won't find DNA. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to see any pictures in this trial to where she's beaten. You're not going to see pictures in this trial where she's scratched. She only had a hangnail at this point. She's not bleeding. She's not cut up. And she has the energy to walk around after being raped for half a day.
He's thinking to myself, I got me a good lawyer. He said everything. I got me a good one.
You're not going to see any of that. On top of that, you're not going to have DNA that says this is Tyrone Taylor's, but they want you to believe the 2 men raped this young lady for 12 hours, abused her, kidnapped her, and forced her.
Mr. Hoover, stop pointing at my table, please.
To walk the street. You've heard them present their case. I just ask you, please listen to everything presented to you in this courtroom for the next few weeks. Not only do you get to hear what our witnesses say, you actually get to see them when they say it. That's really important. Because I'm pretty sure Jordan Adams is going to get up here. She's going to start crying. You don't have to worry about just the crying.
He is rude. Jordan might want to cry. Are you kidding me? Look at the judge. Look at the judge's face. She's looking like, Say one. I'm gonna have to slow you down in a minute.
See
Look at
and
her
hear everything
face.
that's going on. Before you make your final decision, please take your notes, write everything down, pay attention, focus on what you see and what you hear, and I'm confident you will find Tyrone Taylor not guilty of all the charges the state is bringing.
Stop pointing at these women, sir, with your little
All right,
tiny
let me
computer.
just say this to all of you. At
Ooh.
any point you have to use the restroom, don't sit there.
Oh, very important bathroom direction. Okay, so we have the Matthew. Is that Mr. Matthews' son right there? Then we've got the lawyer that came up, lickety split. And then we've got Hoover. Is that okay? Anytime you need to go to the bathroom.
With that, are your first words? State policy,
Okay. That was a mess.
We need a break for a few minutes. Okay, so we'll take 5 minutes.
All right, for the jury.
And you won't let me know as well. There needs to be a break.
Oh, there's Will. There's Will Wooten right there in his casual clothes. I almost didn't recognize him for a second. He looked like he got on some tough skin jeans. You see him? He has on a little polo shirt, his tough skins. You see that? Some Wranglers. It must be business casual in the financial crimes office. Ma'am is over there stretching. Will Wooten's like, I'm going to cream Hoover. I'm going to make him into lemonade. Okay, so let's claim some of our time. Judge is back on the bench. She's getting ready to call things to order.
It's up to you.
This might be where we're at. I don't know if they continued for the rest of the day. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Did they just clip this? And then the rest. Is anyone else broadcasting this cash out trial? Or was that it for the day? I didn't hear her dismiss everybody. Uh let's see. We just watched that. Let's see. I don't see. Did they end things? Someone else was streaming this. Let me see if it just kind of ended. Oh, they went into some. Okay. That might have been it for the day. Was anybody else? We'll find it if they're going to continue. Let's see. I don't see anything else, and I don't know if she dismissed everybody like that or not. I just saw it on Fox 5. Let me see if 11 Alive had it. No. Okay. Cash Out. Tyrone. Gibson. Trial. Girl, this is it's up on here as Cash Out. That's all I see right now, guys. I don't know if the judge looked like she came back on the bench. I don't know if they called their first. They were supposed to call their first witness. It looks like they were assembling to do that. Let's see. It appears as though that's what they were doing. And then it just Okay, well, we'll see if it comes back tomorrow and we can hear some of what's going on. I was very turned off by Sean Hoover. It's not a matter of me like I know all jokes aside and everything. I don't have to like this guy. I don't have to dislike him either, but I just think if you think about it, his demeanor was very off-putting to me, but you know what I'm saying? It might be fine for someone else. I just feel like in a case where you're trying to convince people that your person is not a sexual assaulter, you might want to not be so aggressive and so angry. You know, come on. He might not be angry, but it was giving. So he might not realize that, but you know, he's also not a woman. Oh. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. I did want to talk to you guys about something else, but we'll get back to it either a little bit later. I'm gonna make some food for my family real quick, and then I might come back, I might not, but we'll be back on schedule tomorrow for lunch. I'll see you guys tomorrow for lunch. If I don't see you back a little bit later, okay? You guys have a wonderful evening. Make sure to hit the thumbs up for me on your way out, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Take care, guys. Let me play. Okay. Take care, guys.